Doc Watson, and welcome to I Eat Vibes for Breakfast. How are you doing today?
Good. I like the name too. I meant to tell you that the name is dope.
Yeah,
I
thank you
vibes.
so much.
Yeah.
It stemmed from something I heard at a festival. This girl was telling her boyfriend, she was like, "We can't keep eating vibes for breakfast," and it just really stuck with me.
Wow. That's an interesting conversation.
It it was, yeah. I don't know. I think it might have been in the airport after the festival or something, but she was hungry, and I don't blame her. It was EDC Las Vegas, so it's pretty intense.
A lot of vibes.
Yeah, lots lots of vibes there
A lot
for
of vibes,
sure.
dude. Yeah, but thanks for having
Absolutely.
me on though, for real. It's really dope.
Thank you. So, you are the CEO and co founder of Reflection Music Group. You work with Derek Miner, which is how we met each other since he produces
Right?
me. And so, I just wanted to give you a little intro if you want to tell us a bit about yourself before we get into the tea of the day.
Yeah. So basically my background is I came from San Diego. That's where I was raised. Joined the military,
Oh,
did
nice.
10 years,
Thank you.
got out near Nashville, started doing mixtapes and working in radio. Um, and eventually that road led me down to meet Derek. And Derek and I started working on music together, building a company and signing artists and just, trying to do our best with that. And then we ended up opening a label services called Amplify. And then we opened up a publishing company called RMG Publishing Forever to do administration and syncs and stuff like that. So we've been building a lot. That's a
That's
very, very
awesome.
short version. So I don't bore people.
Yeah, it sounds like you've done so much. You're definitely very knowledgeable. That's an amazing journey. How many years have you been in the business, would you say?
Um, Working in music, I would say 23 years.
Wow, that's awesome. That's amazing. Well, I'm so grateful that you came on here so that I can pick your brain a little bit. I really appreciate that.
No problem, no problem. Thanks for having me
Awesome.
on.
Of course. Okay, so we'll hop into the tea of the day. I have
Okay.
my logo coffee mug today. I actually came prepared. I haven't had this since the
Yeah.
first episode.
That's the dope one. I meant to
Thank
have
you.
a mug, but when I had green tea. And I've
All
already
right, I
drank
love
it.
it. You got a green tea? Okay, I'm
100%.
drinking this green tea with coconut and ginger. I've never tried before. It's from Harney and Sons though, so it has to be good.
That
I
sounds
am
good.
curious. I like all of those things separately. I don't think I've ever had coconut and ginger together though.
I'm gonna pretend and sip.
It's actually really good. Wow, that's
Ginger
gas.
is good for the stomach. Really good.
Absolutely, yeah. And I have a gastroparesis, so anything that's good for the stomach, I'm all over it.
Yeah, I've had some stomach issues in the past, and I used to have to do a lot of ginger to help relax it. Those ginger shots you can get.
Yes,
Yeah, those are
definitely.
awesome.
I'm all over those. I'm actually growing ginger right now. And I really like plants, but I make smoothies a lot and I cut up ginger. And I went out of town for a few weeks and I left the ginger in my little fruit basket and I came back and it's got roots. So I put it in some soil. Now I'm growing ginger by default.
That's dope.
I was glad it didn't like go bad. It just went on thriving.
That's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
all
think
about
it's
the
good.
roots with ginger. So yeah, it's a lot. That's dope. I gotta
Yeah.
try that. I'm about to
Yeah,
plant
we'll
some
see how
stuff,
it
so we're gonna plant
goes.
some ginger. Yeah,
Our figurative tea of the day. Have you been seeing all of like the AI songs that have been going around?
crazy. It really
Yeah,
is. I don't know how I feel about this AI stuff, man. To be honest with you, I don't like it.
me
You
either.
know, yeah, I feel like it's like we're kind of going into an era that's a little scary. You know,
I
uh,
definitely agree.
yeah, because somebody's making this too. I know they're just using algorithm programs right now, but like it's somebody's idea of what that should look like. So I don't even know if it's regulated or
That's
it's
my
weird.
thing. Yeah, I'm
And
like,
it
where
kind
are
of
the
just all
AI
happened like,
cops?
yeah. And did you notice how like it just all hit at once? Like all of a sudden there's chat, GPT, there's AI write-ups, there's these songs being made. Like it's crazy. It's like out of nowhere, all this just started to happen, like all at one time.
I know, it's
I mean, it was
insane.
always out there, but we've always known that AI is out there, but it's like, man, like this stuff is serious. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not
I
about
don't
you. What do you
feel
think?
great about it in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially when they tried to do the AI song with the video.
Oh, yeah.
You
And I
understand that
saw,
labels will just go crazy with that because now you don't need nobody, right? So now it's just all songs by some computer and yeah.
that's a slippery slope for sure. I saw Drake reposted they did like they made AI like so it sounded like Drake was covering an Ice Spice song, and he was like, it's gone too far.
Yeah, no, he wasn't feeling it, you know. So
It's not
it's all
exactly
it's
his style.
no, no. Yeah, it's really I don't know, man. I'm curious to see where this all goes, how they're gonna take care of it legally and everything. It's gonna be interesting to see where it goes next.
Yeah, I hope it goes less places than it seems like it. I don't want it to get as big as I don't know. I don't want what was that like old sci-fi movie where did you ever see that where
Oh,
like the
Terminator?
coffee toaster like even takes over? It was like Starlink or something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
Yeah, they
want that.
were. Yeah, that was Terminator. They got a few of those. Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
the thing, like it took over out of nowhere because it felt like there was a what's his name? There was somebody explaining it. You know how Joe Rogan has those clips all the time on YouTube, and I don't know why. I just like they're always interesting, so I always watch them. And it's always like archaeology or sci-fi stuff or whatever. And Neil deGrasse Tyson was on there talking about AI and how it thinks. And oh no, it wasn't him. It was the dude from Tesla. What's his name? Can't think of it.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Yeah, Elon was saying he doesn't agree with it because he said it would end the world and not even think twice about it, right? And it
Hmm.
wouldn't be able to hurt us. It'd just be like we're in the way of its goal. Just like when we're paving a road, there's an anthill. We just take the anthill out. We don't hate ants. We don't want
Yeah.
to kill them, but we don't care. So
I definitely agree. And that's the
yeah,
program that like Chaos Chat GPT, where that was his whole thing is like that humanity's in the way of his survival. So we're already on the way. It's going great.
right. Yeah, we're in there.
10
We're
out
in
of
there, man. We'll
10.
see how this goes. Yeah,
Yeah, that piping. So that's some piping hot tea right now, and I don't want to drink that tea. Not into the AI tea. But to get on to happier things than like AI world domination, we can
right,
get back to the music industry.
right.
So, what would you say is like your favorite area of expertise and area to work in the music industry?
I like ideation, like marketing.
Okay.
If I'm involved that deep, like I really like helping artists realize what you can do with a song. Like there's a lot of times in music now because of the amount of music that comes out, people are just kind of moving on to the next songs. They don't really. I mean, everyone's trying to figure out the algorithm is what it feels like,
Right.
right? So everyone's always like, how do I build myself up? So I'm gonna drop a song a week and da 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 da. And at the end of the day, yeah, your numbers will probably go up if you stay consistent that way.
Hmm.
But the cost of doing that, even if you're making the tracks, writing the tracks, mixing and mastering the tracks, you're spending a lot of time and energy on this song and then not really getting behind the song. You're just using the song to ping your algorithm. And to me, that's just a lot. And
Hmm.
I've been doing this for a while, so I've seen artists burn out. I've seen
For
artists
sure,
go
yeah.
crazy and make a lot of music, and then just they can't keep it up no more, and they burn out, and then they take a long break and they lose all that momentum. So the long term effect of that isn't good because you're training your fans to listen to music every week or every 2 weeks and go past your last song. And most people don't listen like that. Most people listen to music for a long time, right? You pick a
Yeah.
song, you got new stuff always that's circulating in and out of your library as a connoisseur of music, but
Hmm.
ultimately all of us have songs that we like that go back, right? And
Yeah,
it could be
definitely.
from any genre, any era, but it's all about the time machine it takes us on. That we
Hmm.
relive the feelings, and then there's songs that just feel like us, right? So I think the real thing that artists should try to do is figure out how to make their songs relatable
Hmm.
and how to become relatable, for the audience that listens to them. Like what makes that song special and why should I listen to that song and who are you and what are you about? And, you know, we have that now.
Yeah.
So not to be long-winded about it, but that's just the area where I feel like people really connect on a deeper level. Like it's the playlisting, the release schedules, the way you distribute it, all that's great. That's stuff that we do all the time. But I love it when an artist gets it right and it connects. You
Yeah.
know.
And do you feel like that kind of story and that connection is what creates like longevity rather than a viral moment?
Yeah, I mean, it can be part of the viral moment too,
Hmm.
right? Like, I think sometimes I know some viral stuff is gimmicky and it's just
Right,
fun
right.
stuff or whatever. People don't even care about the song; they just care about like 10 seconds of the song. But
Yes.
but there are some moments though where viral stuff really is the song, right?
Very
we're
true.
really getting the heart of the song. You know what I'm saying? Uh, there's that one song where the guy is singing about if I knew this was the last time I'd see you, like because the person passes away and they have
Right.
some memories. I mean, that's hard to watch sometimes. I skip that now. I can't stomach it, but
Yeah, that's very true.
it's a big deal though, right? We're getting the gist of the song. So sometimes it works out where it's viral and personal.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that should be what every artist really strives for. That is trying to be a performer.
Hmm.
So if you want to perform, you want people to know you from that, right? So the
Definitely.
reason Ice Spice is so popular is because of all the stuff she's been doing. But as we have you seen like all her little stage performances, like they're waiting for her to do all the strip club moves. That's what they want.
Hmm.
They don't care about the song, they're waiting for that, right? So
Right.
that's all she is to them right now. You know what I'm saying? And she's also a movement. I mean, a lot of young girls love her and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, that's what happens when things go viral and they don't really hear your music. You know, so I don't
Okay,
know.
so on that note, then what would be like your biggest tip to artists, like marketing wise, for them to like not just go viral, but also have their music's heard? So maybe just like a way to market themselves in a non-gimmicky way.
Right. So, oh, like, and I get it's hard. Like, I know that there's probably people watching or that are gonna watch and be like, "Oh man, gotta do what you gotta do on TikTok." And I get that. Like I get you gotta market it.
Hmm.
The whole thing is though is you want to build a tribe. You want people to love your music, right? So you got to have a place where you can do that. Whether it's IG and just DMing people, or it's Twitch and you're playing games and people are rocking with you, whatever fits your lifestyle, right? If you're a musician like yourself and you play guitar, maybe it's you play guitar with people, but you can bring people in on a deeper level, so all that other stuff is like fishing. It's just throwing out the bait
Okay.
to capture the most fish. And what you're trying to do is bring them in closer so they can get more out of you and then they know your music. Because a perfect performance, man, is you go on stage, you get up there, it's a room of 200 people, right? I
Yeah.
know a lot of artists feel like they got to sell out stadiums, but when you just start, man, 50 in a room is amazing.
Very true.
And those 50 people knowing your songs.
That's
And
true.
terrestrially, when you can do that, that's when people really take notice. Like industrially, like, wow, these people are aware of her music. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, it's like, man, try to connect with people on a deeper level than a gimmick, you know?
So it's more about those like meaningful interactions to you than like the videos that you post, but more like what you do once you get those audience members kind of looking your way.
Yeah, if that's what you're into. If you're just
Yeah.
making production music, then it's probably just best to do the gimmicks. But I feel like I
Very
want to
true.
be a performer and I want people to buy my merch and to book me and to bring me out and I want to teach and there's like so many things you can do as an artist, right? Like
Hmm.
that you can go further with. Then you got to do things that are going to make people believe in you, right? Or not make, but get people to believe in what you're doing and want to support you. And I've met some of these people. I met one person at South by one time. I was at a panel about live shows and
Hmm.
the effect of it. I mean, we all know they help, but what are some other effects they have? And there was a lady there that bought the platinum badge for South by. It was like $2,400 usually, or at that time it was. And she was just there because of a band that she liked. She had retired, and now she just tours America with that band
Oh,
and
wow.
tries to do other things to help them out without them even asking about it. So she's a super fan. And I was like, well, she got them booked at Disneyland, all kinds of stuff. I'm like, what
That's
makes you do
crazy.
that? Yeah, she's like, well, every show I go to, when I go, they know me. They always
That's nice.
recognize me. They take pictures with me. They let me do stuff. Like sometimes they'll let me come backstage and hang out in the green room for a little bit, but they know me and they remember me and they appreciate me. And to be honest, I know it sounds crazy, but that's what most people really want. If you're you got to remember you're a connoisseur, right? You go out and you consume and do all these things. So when you think about the music you like, ask yourself what makes you like it,
Mm, yeah.
why. If you met the artist, what about the artist made you really like the music more? Or have you met an artist where you didn't really like the music, but after meeting him, you were like, dang, I love this. Now I get it. Like
Mm,
it's
yeah.
that connection that has to happen, to take things on a deeper level. And every artist should strive for that connection somehow, you know.
I'm the daughter of a woman who owns a marketing company and she's been involved in my career, and so that's something that she's super big on, and so she's kind of instilled that in me as far as the connection goes. So yeah, like at shows we always do like giveaways, we throw stuff out. I always stick around afterwards online. If I've have like a viral video, I usually do like a sticker giveaway with that to just do those like kind of personal touches with like those notes here and there. So I love
Right.
that insight because I'm on board.
Yeah, I mean, it's important. Like, for women in music, there's other things that you guys can do that guys can't. Like, you can sell beauty products, you can be an Instagram influencer. So you
True.
can go down that path as well as your music and create even more, what I'm saying, revenue for yourself. And like I said, the more likable you are, the more of a real person you are, the more that, women are gonna want to see more about what you're doing. They're gonna want to look at your fashion, what you use, what products you like, what hairstyles. It's different. Guys don't do that. Guys are like, what kind of shoes do you got? Oh, okay. Like that's as far as it goes for us. Most guys, some guys do care about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't care about what kind of aftershave the guy on Instagram's using?
No, I don't think any
Nope.
guys ever asked me once in my life what aftershave I use.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I think
funny.
no, I've never had a guy ask that. Like I've never. Most things that dudes talk about, like is if they got an injury, how they heal from it, what kind of clothes they like, uh, what kind of where they got their shoes from, what games they're playing. Like,
That kind of
it's
stuff, yeah. I feel
if you
like
got
as a
like a
woman,
really yeah, well, if you got a real fashion forward type guy, they're gonna be a little different about that stuff.
yeah, they got it going on. I feel like as a woman, you got to be so ready for all those questions. I'll get asked all the time, like, "Where'd you get that?" And I just forget. I feel like I got to keep a list. It's not
Yeah, you're
safe
like,
out there.
yeah, H&M. I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, they'll think you're gatekeeping if you don't tell them. So sometimes you do have to
Oh
just make
wow.
up a fake place because otherwise they'll be like, "Oh yeah," like they'll think you're being like shady just because you simply
I
don't
never even thought
remember.
of that would be a thing. That's crazy. But see,
It's
I don't have to deal with it. So like it comes with the territory for females, for women that are in music. Like it's part of your lifestyle. You have to be ready for
it's the
that stuff.
culture of the women. I love women.
Yeah.
I love being a woman, but it's a little too complicated sometimes. We make it kind of extra. I like being extra, but it's a lot.
Not extra extra, right?
Yeah, not that extra. I want to be like enjoyable to be around. I want to be
Right.
easygoing. That's my goal. Um, so I don't
Good
come for
goal though.
people if they don't
Yeah, that's a
remember where
good
they
one.
got something.
That's key for being successful as an artist though. Being likable is a big deal, man. Like careers end when now if you're super big and like you just can't be knocked over, it's different. But on the way up, man, people they gotta like you. You know, they
Do
gotta
you
feel like there's something there. Everybody, just same thing with how you feel. Like if someone's not being likable, it's like you don't really want to be around them.
Yeah. Do you agree that, okay, in your experience, I feel like I've had this experience that the most likable people are usually like the most legit and like actually accomplished. And then the least likable people in the music industry, I feel like are the ones that are like fronting the most. That's my
Yeah,
experience. Is that your experience?
yeah. The only
Yeah.
problem is though is sometimes the ones that are like that, they're just really good with their gift of gab. They're just really
Mm.
good at talking the game, and so and they have just enough around them where you're like, okay, and you realize like this person does not know what they're doing, and I've just wasted money and time and whatever with this individual. But yeah, especially I think it's obviously it's everywhere, right? It's just human nature, but
Yeah.
in music it is rampant, because there's a lot of people that chase clout in music
Mm.
because they just think that's what's going to get them. I don't even think people do it like on purpose. It's just, oh, if I have this, we did it a little bit. Like we thought PR was going to help us, and we didn't realize that PR just magnifies your story
Mm.
and gets in front of more people, but doesn't necessarily sell records. Like we had to learn a lot of lessons. So, like, yeah, those people like they have a knack though for being likable for a minute until you get a
Yes.
chance to deal with them, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I've definitely met those people. Speaking of what you just said on PR, that's actually really interesting to me because I feel like I've had mixed experiences working with PR agencies. What would your overall almost advice be with like when to bring in PR and like why?
Yeah, so every artist really should take the pressure off themselves. Like, I think there's this huge pressure when artists are looking around at everybody else, and they just feel like, man, I'm supposed to be here, and it costs money and time and a lot of energy, and you're putting your art in front of the world, so you want people to like it, and
Hmm.
it's risky, to put it out there to see what people think about it. So when you're not getting the measure back that you're hoping for, I think a lot of artists start looking for answers, and all the answers cost money most of the time, right? So my
Yeah.
thing is the most important thing to do is, I'm answering this way for a reason, but start releasing music on a consistent basis. Get away from the album if you don't have the fans for it, and just release one at a time and really work that song. Like, and you don't even have to do videos that are like budgeted videos. You can just do like literal iPhone videos, of just
Hmm.
dope things, and playing music, and just being you, without really having to uh, go too far with it. And as you do that, it starts to create momentum. It starts to open doors, and then there's a time in there where you start thinking, okay, maybe I should roll out a project, and then towards the midway of the project, I'll bring in PR. But you want to make enough money and make it worth it if you're going to take that kind of risk. The money in music is always 2 3 months behind the
Mm,
project. It's always late.
true.
Like when you have a high selling project, you're going to invest. We just invested. We were a label service for a project we had for 5 years. We invested about 15 to 20 grand into the project, plus man hours, everything else. I won't see the money probably for another 40 days, and then it's going to be broken up amongst months, right?
Right.
So we'll make plenty of money on it, but it's going to take time. So as an artist, that's an individual, that's independent, you want to give yourself the time.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it just always feels like you're doing the same thing, getting the same result. So it's like, man, give people a chance to know that record,
Okay.
right? You worked really hard on that record. Like, give people a time to discover that. Do videos and reels and TikToks, and just keep trying to get it out there.
Okay.
Perform it and whatever, and you'll see at some point it'll pick up organically, and
Hmm.
then curators will get behind it because they're going to say, "Yo, this is great," and then you start spending more.
Okay.
But what I see happen though is people spend a lot on the front end and get burned out, let down, lose confidence, and then don't trust anybody.
Hmm.
So it's a vicious cycle, but that's about 90% of the people I meet deal with that. They meet the wrong people, and they end up just really getting hurt by those interactions.
Hmm.
And then they don't believe anybody when they tell them, like, yo, you could do it this way. It's like it takes a lot to believe that's going to
Trust.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely see how that would happen in this industry for sure.
All the time. Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's people out there that they have status, and so it feels like if I work with that person, that's going to happen for me. But the thing is, you still got to have the fans.
Hmm.
You got to look at the
Absolutely.
big picture, right? Like what worked for that artist. Well, when I came in to help this particular artist I spent money with, I've been working with them for a little while, but prior to me, they were already doing pretty well.
Mm.
So I just came in and added some hot sauce to it. But I'm not responsible for all the work he did before us. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and that's the thing. Like, so if someone's on the sideline watching that, they're like, "Oh, that's because Doc did that."
Mm.
And the artist gets no credit. you know. And then of course it's I'm gonna go try to make money off of this guy's with this what I do with this guy. I'm gonna go sell some opportunities, and
Oh, yeah.
that's
I've
yeah.
definitely met, yeah, some people who like worked with and like claim a lot more, I think, than they actually did. But they are the same people with the gift of the gab, so it's all full circle.
100%. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, we all meet those people, all of us.
definitely. On the
Yeah.
topic of, like spending money wisely with like, PR and all that, what would you say for an independent artist or just an independent label in general, where their dollars would probably go the furthest as far as like team members and assets go? Like what would like the top three be to kind of invest in besides the music?
Uh, Taking advantage of the system. So like Spotify has Marquee. If you can get over 15K and it's opening it up to you, always use that. Marquee is a great
Hmm.
tool. I realize some people don't like having to pay,
I
but
used that. I
it's
liked it.
always been that. Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
been that way. When you go back to when they were putting music in stores and you would walk in, and the music
Hmm.
would be right in the front, people were paying for that space.
Right.
So it's never, yeah, it's always been like that. Like you can release on your own, do your own thing, or you know, the argument is, man, why do I got to pay to reach my fans? But you've always had to pay to reach your fans.
That's how
You know,
marketing works.
yeah, yeah. Even if you just do it yourself, right? Even if you do everything internally, you
Yeah.
still got to run e-blast that costs money, keep a website up that costs money. Like everything costs money, you know. And if you can't afford to do marquee, it's okay. It's not. It doesn't mean you're terrible. It's just a tool. But
Yes.
I think some people get mad because they don't want to spend the money on it. They're frustrated by how much they've had to spend to get to this point.
Right.
And look, man, it doesn't get any easier. We spend a lot on releases. It just gets worse and worse. So you're gonna pay more if you got more people. That's just how it goes. So I think marquee, direct. Well, we'll say this: direct marketing
Okay.
is
Yeah.
important. Running marketing links, making sure that you're putting money behind your. If you have a reel that's doing well, put
Hmm.
money behind it. If you have a TikTok that's doing well, put money behind it.
Oh,
Make
okay.
sure your links are always there so people can see where to go. Uh, and then I think content. If you're an artist, you should definitely put money into content.
Absolutely.
If you got to go out and pay a camera person just to take dope pictures of you while you're performing and use those to post online, like whatever you can do to create content for yourself is really important. It's really
Okay.
important.
How would you say that like the whole, platforms like TikTok, this whole content-based world has changed your job?
It's I think it's just made it to where the artist really has to do their part.
Hmm.
I think back in the day, it felt like we had to do more, and the artists didn't really have to have a presence online. They had to go out and tour.
Right.
But now what's happening is, the workload is really split, where the artist really has to get behind their record for us to do what we're going to do to get more out of the record. So I think it's made it fun, but it's made it challenging. On the
Hmm.
fun side, you could have like we have Byron who's had Obsessed, one of his songs just go viral numerous times. So we finally made a remix for it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, but at the end of the day though, like if you're an artist that can't seem to get that going for yourself, it can be frustrating. If you
Yeah.
don't have a song that goes and you're trying really hard to figure out what's going to make it work and it's not working. So I think it's the gift and the curse. It's fun when it's working. Everyone's excited. The artist is excited. But when it's not working, it's frustrating, confidence breaker sometimes. So
Hmm.
that's where the challenge has been is just to try to keep artists in a healthy space in their mind, like help them see the bigger picture so they don't think that has to happen. Because the
Yeah.
question I get all the time is how come it works for them and not for me.
Right.
And to be honest, nobody has the answer. Even the person that's having the success, just once they catch fire, they have to keep it,
Right.
right? But it's like even if you ask them how do you keep it, it's like I don't know. I'm just making content over and over again, hoping it works.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy because it's almost like it's not up to us.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
someone at TikTok goes, I don't know, I like this guy. What I'm saying?
It's very much a lottery. How much
Right.
of it do you feel like is the algorithm versus like the quality of the song?
Hmm. I think it's both. I
Okay,
think
yeah.
it depends on the situation too, because some stuff goes viral for being terrible, right?
Right. Yes.
Have you seen that one, the rapper that yodels? Like I just saw that today. I don't know why I was
What
on my
is
feed.
it?
This rapper, like every time he raps, the last part of his word, it sounds like he's yodeling. He's got,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he has like 250,000 views.
Yes.
And I guarantee you, when he dropped that video, he was serious, right?
Oh, probably.
But everybody looks at it like, what is this? They're just sharing it because it's funny. So
Yeah.
meanwhile,
Half
this
the
guy's
time I
getting
can't
much.
tell.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. How do you feel about it as an artist, being someone who's trying
I
to break a record and
I feel like it's pretty even as far as like talent versus algorithm. I feel like it's very much a lottery. I think it's a beautiful tool. I think it's a great opportunity because I've been doing music for a long time and I will say that I like having TikTok in this like video algorithm based platform where it's going out to new people because I feel like doing the independent artist thing as like when Instagram was the biggest thing was not the easiest because you weren't really able to reach new people. So I really like this new algorithm. I'm very into it. I feel like it can be very draining as an artist for sure when you keep posting the songs, it's not taking off. Or like one video will get like 500,000 views and your next one gets like 600 and you're just like what happened here? What's going on? So it's definitely a
yeah.
lot of like mental work, I think, as an artist to just kind of like keep yourself, sorry, keep
No, you're
yourself
good.
just keep yourself good and like keeping yourself like into social media because I think the biggest thing is like when I started making videos because when TikTok came out I was never that into making short form content like that. I never hopped on Vine. I think I was too young at the time. And so I feel like I didn't like it at first because it almost felt like you had to do it. And so I think the biggest thing for me has just been finding a way to enjoy it and just seeing it like reframing it in my mind to see it as like a great opportunity other than like something I have to do. So I've enjoyed it a lot more, especially because if you think about it, like if you played a show to 50 people right now, you feel great. But then when you get like 350 views, you don't like it. So I think it's all like a mental thing a lot of the time.
Yeah, and it's ego, right? Like pride,
Absolutely.
not saying that it's egotistical not to like it,
No.
saying it hurts. Yeah, it just hurts. It's like, dang, 350 views. Like, but that's the part I was talking about before,
Hmm.
where um just if there's any artists watching, don't be so hard on yourself, man. Give yourself time. Like, look, there's artists out there that I deal with that are doing great and they still have videos like that,
Hmm.
right? Because sometimes it just doesn't work for them.
Right.
So it's really about the consistency, being available, and having a place where people can connect with you. And
Hmm.
and I think the more that people like you doing this podcast is a great idea because you're giving
Thank
people a
you.
chance to meet you a different way and see how you are as a person and the questions you ask, and that gives them more of you. Like, oh wow, she's really into this and she asks really good questions. So it just makes people want to like you more and listen to your music more.
Well, thank
I
you so
think that's the
much.
job of every artist is just be willing to get in front of your music. And TikTok is not a dance app, like it used to be. Like you
Yeah,
can
definitely not.
you can just get on there and talk. Like so like for you could do covers. Have you ever checked out From Britain? You
What is
seen
it
her
called?
stuff? From Britain?
I don't think so.
She's I follow her, man. I like her a lot. I wish
I'll check her
I could
out.
figure out a way to find her, but she's dope. You could do what she's doing. Like it's the same. Like she just gets in there and she sings like in front of the the camera, and like she does the eye contact. She drops her new songs like snippets. She'll do covers sometimes.
Right.
One of the
Yeah, I
covers
do
she
covers
did,
sometimes. I don't do as much as that of like posting my originals.
yeah. Well, and that's good too because you don't be known for being just a cover person. But
That's
yeah,
always kind of what I've struggled with because, like, that concept, just because I grew up in Nashville, like in high school, I'd play those cover gigs on the weekend in the bars and stuff. And so I always kept getting advice, like, you don't want to be pinholed into that. So then I just like completely stopped with covers. So I definitely
yeah,
need to bleed them in more. But for a long time, I was very like opposed to that. I think just because I didn't want to play like cover gigs anymore.
yeah. And it can be because when you're doing that, they're kind of they're seeing you, but they're really more into the cover, right? Like they
And
know
like
this
eating
song.
their dinner
Yeah, it's different. But no,
if
man,
you're
like I
doing it
think
live.
it's good to do that a little bit to show your voice, show your
Hmm.
the music you like, and then always keep something there where they can find you.
Hmm.
So maybe you do a link tree where it's like my music, covers, my fashion, my podcast, whatever it is you're into.
Yeah.
I'm sure you thought of this. Your mom, is amazing in marketing, and I know you don't fall too far from the trees, so I'm sure you're all over it. But
Absolutely, yeah. I definitely am. I got all the link trees. Mine's probably a little hefty. I need to take a few things off. I'm out here documenting it all. I used to sell
I got
paintings. I've stopped
oh,
doing
did
that
you?
because I did a few commissions that were just kind of stressful, and so I took a step back from paintings. But
Uh,
yeah, so I've got a lot of things on my link tree right now.
yeah, a lot of talent, man. Just gotta figure out what's got to find the direction and go for it.
Absolutely, yeah. I still really like painting. I know music is my main direction. I feel like painting's more of like a fun thing. Like I painted this guitar case back here with
Oh
the
wow.
roses and stuff.
I thought it was like an older guitar case or vintage.
Oh
It's
yeah,
dope.
no, it's just mine. I painted it. It was my Les Paul guitar case when I bought that.
Oh wow, you put the Gibson on there and the whole nine. That's dope.
Yeah, yeah, I'm super. I love it. I have another one that I like acrylic pour painted on top of. Do you know what that is?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it
it's
looks
really
really cool.
cool.
It's
Like
like a
it's like that.
galaxy kind of.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
dope.
So I'm sure you get an insane amount of emails all the time. What would you say makes an email stand out to you more so than another one?
I think self-awareness in
Okay.
the email. So the thing I've noticed talking to other people that do things in the industry and other executives and stuff is I there's like a few things. So like I get emails that are just weird, like, yo, I'm hot right now, sign me, that kind of stuff. Or dropped a new song. I have no idea who this person is, you know what I mean? And I don't blacklist people or anything. I just don't care and delete it. Every once in
Right.
a while, I might just check if I actually do check out emails and do look at what artists are doing because I see potential in different artists, and we're always looking to grow and add to our talent pool because we look at it bigger than just the artist. Like, what else does the artist do? Do they play? Can we help them get production? Can we help them get syncs? Like, what kind of artists are we dealing with? You know what I'm saying? So every once in a while, I'm like really into pop and R&B right now because we're having more success there. Yeah, we've
Okay.
really built that area out. Did a couple South by shows, all that kind of stuff. So I've been kind of diving into that world a little more. So I'm looking for that.
Okay.
And when I get emails, if it's like a one sheet, a song, the artist just kind of explains what they know about us, that's important, because if I'm gonna reach out to a label, I want to know what they're about and if they're really a good fit for me. But that self-awareness is so important, and this is why. Like when you sign somebody, the biggest fear I have is that I wouldn't even say fear, that just the biggest drawback or the thing that causes the most problems is an expectation that's not real, right?
Hmm.
I literally had a kid that signed, was great working with him, but in his mind, we were supposed to do everything, get him fans, get him playlists. And I'm like, well, nobody cares what I'm doing, bro. Like, they're not a fan of me. Like, they don't want to listen to my music. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm here to help you amplify your situation. Like, you're the artist, and I'm here to help you out. The
Hmm.
less, the less they know about me, the better, because that means I'm getting in front of you, and I shouldn't be getting in front of you. So if
Right.
they don't know about me or our team, but they know about you, that's a benefit to us. Industrially, the artists will care, right? Artists will go, why is that working? Who are you with? The fans, they don't, I mean, most fans don't know what record labels any of their artists are on, you know.
True.
If the artists, there's times where they make it about that, like Rockefeller or G Unit in my world anyway,
Yeah.
or the Motown, like all the. I mean, there's that kind of stuff, but ultimately, like, if I ask you what label Beyonce's on, and you're a fan, you probably don't know.
Right.
I have
Yeah.
no idea. I know they're working their butts off every day,
No, they're doing
but
the
you'll
damn
never
thing.
know. Yeah, but they don't care about that. What they care about is, how do the artists feel about us, right?
Hmm.
And can we sign more people, and do we have prestige? So at the end of the day, when I see if someone recognized, hey, I know y'all do A, B, and C. I feel like I'd be a good fit. Here's what I do. That helps,
Okay.
because now I'll take the email a lot more serious. I'm like, oh, I read them. I mean, I read every email that comes in that comes from artists. I mean, me or someone on the team reads them. So if it's just one of those, I'm hot, sign me now, it's gone.
Right.
But if it's like, man, or they give me like a sort of a story behind what they're doing, and that helps too.
Kind of goes
So
back to that human connection that we were talking about with like the marketing and everything as well.
yeah, I just, if it feels like it's someone just really trying to figure it out, and I may not want to sign them or anything, or work with them on a deeper level, but I may want to connect with them.
Right.
Like, hey, where you at? I'll be out there. Maybe we can sit down and talk, and I can give you
Hmm.
some pointers, or you can share some things. Like, it creates more of a. I've got a few of those connections where I've responded, in that way to help people.
Okay. And now that, kind of independent artists are a newer thing in the industry, so labels are not developing as much, what would you say is like the best time you think for an artist and a label to come together?
Yeah, I mean, it is that way. The labels stop developing because it costs much to develop an artist, and
Hmm.
the worst part is, you may lose your investment. They may. Some artists are just not loyal to the cause, and they're like, yeah, I got what I wanted, I'm out. And you done your 3 album deal, and you just spent all this money on them, and now they're going to go somewhere else. So it creates a lot of problems. But uh, where I get excited is if I have, to be honest, I
Yeah.
think I can help any artist grow that's got talent. It's really about where they're at mentally. Like, how mature are you? What have you been through? Do you know a good deal when you see a good deal? Like,
Hmm.
I don't know how many artists kill themselves there. They don't realize when they're in a good situation, because in their mind, they're looking at deals a different way.
Hmm.
So like, if you think a good deal is getting 20 grand and someone to pay for all your music, then cool. The problem is, though, is you're not going to own any of that stuff, and you're not going to have control of any of it, and you don't get to say when it comes out. And you may release 2, 3 songs and sit for a year. Like, that's the problem with taking that kind of deal. That's going to be a deal where they have more to lose than you. If you're in a
Hmm.
deal where you're bringing in the budget and you have the ideas, then it's more of a, okay, let's see how we can work this out. Like Master
Right.
P, the deal that he did, do you know that he paid, I don't know the amount that he paid, I think it was 500 grand, but he paid 500 grand to Priority to use their distribution
Oh, wow.
system. And he got 85% of the sales because of that and owned everything.
That's
So for the
that's
rest of his
amazing.
life, he has his catalog. He's made that numerous times. You know what I'm saying? So now all I had to say, like, when you're an artist and you come in, if you've been through a lot of crap with people and you've dealt with all the snakes and you got a situation that's good, you'll know it. And then
Mm-hmm.
we know and we feel better about it. We're like, okay, they know this is a good situation. Now let's go work. But if you got one that's never had it good or
Mm-hmm.
bad, and you're their first experience, they just think that's how everything is. You know what I'm saying? The
Right.
same way if you get screwed all the time and you think that's how it is, it's the opposite for the people that don't get screwed.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's
But
definitely
they go out and do different deals, not realizing they're leaving a good one. When they're done, they don't re up, they leave, which they have the right to do. But
right.
then they go out and go and get clobbered potentially because someone just signs them for what they can get from them, which isn't terribly wrong. I mean, labels are supposed to make money, just
Mm-hmm.
like when you sign with a label, you're supposed to think about what it can do for you. I mean, that's business.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're hoping is there's some type of human part to it where everyone realizes that we're all trying to grow, we're all trying to be successful. And when you sign, I don't mean to be long-winded about this, but
No,
when you sign
it's a
a
podcast. You can
corporate,
be as long-winded as you want.
yeah, well, when you sign like a deal with a label like, one of these bigger labels, I don't want to say names because they're all different labels, but when you sign with them and it's corporate based, there's not really a real human thing there. Like the person you sign to could be gone
Right.
in 3 months or 4 months. You're just signing to a conglomerate. Whereas if you sign to an independent label, I take it more personal,
Mm-hmm.
right? I take it more personal if you fail or succeed or how you're going to feel about it in 10 years. I don't want to be on the bad side of the conversation. I want to be on the good side. So it bothers me when something isn't working out
Mm-hmm.
or something didn't happen the way we wanted it to. Like I take it personal. I want to make it right. Want to do good with it. Want to kill it. Find ways to get better. Find ways for us to do a better job with you as an artist. So that is where I like to be. So the deals that we're in are those kind of deals where
I
I
love that.
signed, like we signed the Ghazi and Nima, right? That Empire, like he took a personal interest. That video we got a deal. They took a personal interest and they still take a personal interest. You got Cheech over there. Like these people care and they're affected by the ups and downs. Um,
And I feel like that shines just like a much better light on. It's great to hear like someone who works at a label to talk about like how the mental health of the artist actually like equates into the everything. So that is great to hear. And on that topic, I feel like last time you and I talked, we kind of talked a little bit about a little bit about how there's like a negative misconception nowadays kind of about like the artist label relationship. So I kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit about your side, or the label side more so of that dynamic.
yeah, you cut out for 1 second. He said part one more time.
Oh, absolutely. So last time that we talked a little bit about how there's kind of a negative misconception around labels and the artist relationship nowadays. So I wanted to pick your brain and get your perspective on that dynamic.
The artist label relationship dynamic.
Yeah, kind of like um, what you feel makes a positive artist label relationship or what makes a negative one.
I think it all comes down to expectations.
Hmm.
Like there's a lot of expectations, that artists have. And there are labels that do a bad job at times with certain artists. So there's just some kind of disconnect.
Hmm.
Uh, but I think that's where the biggest thing is in everyone's mind, there's what they think it means to do whatever they're doing, right? So
Hmm.
you're an artist, you know how it is. When you have someone that comes on the team, you have an expectation for what that looks like for you,
Right.
what you would like to see happen, right? And when it doesn't happen, that right away it's like, well, what happened? And the team might tell you what their roles or strategies are, how they're trying to go about it. I think where the damage is done a lot of times is who's controlling what, and then the expectations. So a lot of times artists, you know, the artist wants to do certain things, labels like, hey, it's not a good idea, here's why, and they want to try, they got to keep a hold of it because they're investing. That
Right.
that irritates artists. And you can tell because when you see like the stories online about label deals, right? I know the TLC stories out there, the Megan Thee Stallion story was out there, but what we're not talking about though is how much marketing money was put into those records, right? So
Hmm.
sure, the TLC deal is pretty bad. I mean, it sucks that they had one of the biggest albums ever and they barely made any money off it, right?
Right.
But prior to that, they kind of weren't proven yet.
Hmm.
and they were building them out. So they signed the deal that they had. They had lawyers. They looked it all over. That means that currently in the position they were in, that's what they were comfortable doing, and they signed it.
Hmm.
So they just didn't understand their deal, so they were angry about it, and they decided to go out live and talk about it. But what they didn't talk about was they were in debt $1 million because of the marketing. They spent $1 million in marketing
Wow.
um, their records, right? So they got flights, clothing, hotels, cars, all this stuff to help with that marketing campaign, and it has to get paid back. And what no one realizes is it comes out of your percentage,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
That's the worst part of the deal. So like our very first deal we signed was a 90-10 their way, and we didn't pay for anything, and at least album wise, and didn't realize our recoup came off Arts 10. Like we had a lot to learn, and it was heartbreaking. Like it was like one
I'm
of the
sure.
biggest crushes I ever felt in my life, knowing that we weren't going to make no money because we had to recoup off 10. We're
Mm.
still paying it back. We didn't even know what was spent, had no idea what they were doing, like, because it was just the kind of deal we were in. That's the way it was for us at the time. So that creates the lack of transparency,
Mm.
the lack of helping the artists understand where things are expectation wise, the not being open to the artist's creative aspect. It can damage relationships.
Yeah, that definitely makes
Sometimes you're
sense.
sometimes without even a chance to fix it.
Mm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
irreparable if people feel jilted in that kind of way on like that kind of scale, especially in TLC language. That's $1 million. That's a lot of money. I do wonder,
Yeah.
what the logistics are on like budget approvals. I feel like if I was in a deal like that, I would definitely want to see some numbers on what's getting recouped against my
Yeah, the best thing to
royalties.
do is just try to control your budget.
Yeah.
Like they really usually recoup half the budget on marketing, full budget on production,
Mm.
and you know they are in control of the budget. Really, they can spend what they want
Right.
within that budget, and they can say no. They can do a lot of stuff. So as long as you have an input and you see it and most
Hmm.
times they're pretty transparent about it, and they're willing to help and make it as great as possible. But a lot of times when artists get budgets like that, they kind of blow it on stuff that they don't really need because it's all about the dream. So
Right, right.
whatever you feel you're not getting, that's what you're going to go for first, most likely, because you're going to feel, at least that's what we did. I mean, I can't speak for you, but for us, it was like, well, we want a PR campaign. We never had that. So
Right.
we spent like 10 grand on PR and got nothing, right? Of course, the PR person took it. Why
Yeah,
not?
of
They're
course.
not, they're not, they're not, they don't have to, explain themselves or show you proof. Like they got paid, they're working it, and they can, what are you going to do? Take it
Exactly,
back?
yeah.
You can't. So that's the thing that sucks about the budgets, because a lot of artists do that. They usually go the direction of, I've never had write-ups, I've never had this, or I've never been able to do this kind of video that's like 10 grand where I got a makeup person and food buffet, and then not realizing, man, you're just cutting into your money, you're cutting into your opportunities. You should try to shoot that same video for 3 and do the work. But it's hard. You don't know until you know, right? So
Yeah.
we didn't know until we knew, and then we
Well,
figured it out.
hopefully people listening to the podcast will know because you knew, and now we'll all know.
Yeah.
That's the
Well, hey,
idea.
I wish we
Hopefully.
would have worked, man. I thought we were going to work for a second. I was excited to work with you. I was like, let's go. Maybe later though.
Absolutely. I was gonna ask, do you think, nowadays with social media how it is, do you think it is more beneficial for artists to focus on social media or focus on touring? Or both?
No, I definitely think you want to do both, right?
Both. Yeah.
Uh, man, so funny you asked. It's such a good question, because
Thank
I
you.
had an artist tell me that was really doing well on social media, and he didn't want to do live shows.
Mm.
I was like, bro, you got to. He's R&B. I was like, you got to do live shows. Like R&B is about the fantasy at the live show, right?
Right.
It's you got to get out. I think you got to find out your pace.
Mm-hmm.
There's what Instagram and TikTok tell you works, and there's what you can handle, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of work, man. Let's be honest. I
Yes.
would hate being an artist myself because it's just so much work. I'm not creative enough to do that every day, or I don't know if I have the brain power. I'm also a little older, so the
That's
energy's not
okay.
there. Yeah, but just creating these videos and building it out and having to, man, especially if you're a lady, you got to put makeup on and do all of this and do your hair, and
It's the biggest thing for me. I'm like, oh, geez,
it's
we
a
gotta
lot.
put in some work on this. So
You
whenever
need
I
to do a
do my makeup
podcast.
and hair, I'm
Yeah,
insufferable. I'm like, I'm making 15 videos. No one can stop me.
you got to. You got
Yeah.
to get all you can out of it. Do a change of clothes and and just try to get all the shots you can. So the rest of the week you can take it easy, and then you got to get them
Yes.
edited, post them, tag them, send them, get on the, like it's a lot,
Put the
man. It's a
captions
lot.
on, the hashtag research. What time should I
Right.
post it?
Yeah. How's your Instagram doing? What's your following?
It's going pretty good. I think I have 30, 30,000 something. My TikTok's doing all right. I'm pulling it up right now because I don't know. I fasted from social media this weekend. It was really nice. Yeah, I've got like 25,000 followers on TikTok, 705,000 likes, and then like
That's
30
good.
something thousand on Instagram.
That's good, man. Yeah. So
I'm trying.
what do you feel has been some of the things that have bothered you about working with people in the industry? If you don't mind sharing, like what are
Yeah,
some things that
absolutely.
like what
Okay.
have been some of the things that have kind of irritated you?
I think overselling and under delivering is the main one for sure. Not a big fan of that. I think just general disorganization or just flippancy. I'm kind of right brained in a lot of ways. So I feel like I like to see things in writing. I like to have a plan. I don't just like to willy nilly it. So I feel like just like lacks of communication, I would say, are my biggest things. There's obviously like overly shady people. Like I had this girl who I was friends with who was another artist in the industry, and she ended up stealing my manager, my band, my attorney, a whole all the mess of it. So there's those people, but more so I would just say like on working basis, it's all about communication
Yeah.
and respect. I do feel like as a woman, I haven't always received the largest amounts of respect. I was on a call last week in which I was told that I had done pretty well for myself. My mom and I, we had done pretty well for ourselves for a couple of ladies. And I don't always appreciate the qualifiers on that. I think sometimes it's okay to just tell a woman she's done pretty well for herself, period, in general. So
Yeah.
those are my main complaints, my only ones, maybe.
Yeah. Well, so that last one you cut out just for half a second. So what was the qualifier?
That we had done pretty well for ourselves for a couple of ladies.
They told you that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I
These
felt
days they told
like,
you that? That's like dangerous ground
yeah,
talking like that.
yes,
For
yeah.
girls, y'all did all right. That sounds like something we used to say we were playing kickball. You
I
kick good
know.
for a girl.
That,
You know?
yeah, basically. The sentence should pretty much end at you're doing pretty well for yourself, just period. It's not like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like it's like a shock that I'm just a functioning adult.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a good thing to say. I think yeah, that's crazy. But no, like at the end of the day, when I see an artist that's got something developed, got a sound, just missing one or two things, and it's just about connecting the dots
Hmm.
and trying to help everything come together. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so that, yeah, people saying stuff like that. It's funny. That's something I can't even imagine saying nowadays. And by the way, the kickball reference was like from the '80s. All right,
I
so
know, yeah.
whole different
It's
time back then. But yeah, no, it can be frustrating. I know it's harder for women than men in music for sure,
mhm,
especially in hip hop and stuff. It's
right,
always been a little tougher. I mean, it's just harder on women in the workforce in general. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like, it's always been a challenge. To find a way to level the playing ground. I think for some people, there's a
Yeah.
lot of debates about it, all kinds of perspectives.
Oh, definitely. I think we're making progress, though. I think great progress. Little comments like that are just kind of minor setbacks. I don't think it's like, I mean, there's definitely more progress to be made, but overall, I think we're in the right direction. I think generally people are pretty on track with equal sexes.
Yeah, nowadays more than ever because I think people are
Definitely.
hiring more diverse, thoughtful people.
Hmm.
That it's look at the end of the day, people are always going to say jacked up stuff. Sometimes they don't, we don't even realize we say it. It's
Exactly.
things that they just get said, and you're like, all right, what about what we did? Like there's always ways to take things. What I've learned to do for myself, is just try to control. what I can control, which is how I feel about things. So
Exactly.
when someone says something, I don't like if they say, "Yeah, man, I just wish I had a label." I'm like, "What the hell? We are a label." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I realized what they're trying to say. I have to like take myself out of it and be like,
Yes.
they're just saying that they wish they had this. Like
Hmm.
they're they're looking at us as part of it. You know.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's just, but there's like always things people say where you're just like, bro, come on, man.
Yes.
So if I'm having one of them days where I'm just like not in that the headspace ain't there, like I don't get on the phone,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
do text. Yeah, because I know me, I'll say something back or I'll say something stupid. So I've had to learn
Definitely.
to pull myself out, take the emotions out of it. But
Yeah.
when you're a creative, that's very hard to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like,
for sure. I feel like
yeah,
I
it's
I
all
do
emotional.
pretty good like stepping away before responding. Also just because another thing like being a woman, I feel like if, even if somebody I've had like a producer get kind of unprofessional attitude with me and I felt like I couldn't respond with that same energy or else like I'd be like the diva per se. So I feel
Mm.
like I just feel like a lot of pressure personally to like always come across very diplomatic per se. Although I did go off on someone in an email last week, but
Did
I
you?
ended it pretty nice.
So
It's a little sandwich method.
you like punch them in the stomach and then we're like, have a good day.
Yeah, but enjoy yourself. I numbered it all out. It was organized chaos, in my opinion. It was
Yeah.
nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. At the end of the day, it all comes down to proper expectation. And if you sell something high, you
Yeah,
have no room to over deliver. It's just you're already having to over deliver because like anyone that's being honest with any artist will tell them you don't have that kind of control. Like I can put the music in front of all the people that we need to put it in front of, but I can't control what they feel about the music. And
absolutely.
sometimes what people feel is if the label is behind it, they will support it.
Hmm.
But there's artists that are dropped on labels, not dropped, but there's music that drops on labels all the time. It doesn't get a lot of support,
Yeah,
right? It's like
absolutely.
there's the stuff we all see that we know about. So we know about, the Beyoncé's, the Drakes, the Ariana Grandes, all these different big artists that we see, or the country artists. But the labels also have other artists,
Hmm. Very true.
and there's times where when we're dropping music, I'm it. The
Hmm.
reason we got the playlist was because I pushed it and the label didn't really get it done. And I know that, what I'm saying? So that happens. And it's unfortunate because you want to see results, you want to see the numbers up. And let me tell you, when you start having more and more success dropping music, it gets worse, you
Okay.
know, until you get to the other side of the mountain and you go, okay, I'm good regardless of what happens. I
Hmm.
got people helping me do that and we're trying to get it done. But I still am going to make money off this music. I'm still going to get enough streams with my own fan base. It's just, what you're hoping is that we can add more to the energy. We can
Hmm.
do things to bring it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And what happens is I think sometimes it's so hard being the artist that the artist wants the label to do all of that, and just what happens. And
Hmm.
when the good things don't happen, that's when we get the emails. Like I can always tell them when I'm going to have a good Friday, because if I'm having a good Friday, I don't hear nothing, and I see all the tweets. Got it from the dirt. Thank you, Spotify. This and that. Every once
Amazing.
in a while we get a little bit of love, but yeah, when it's a bad day, I got a text thread full
Oh
of
my God.
texts as soon as I wake up. Yep. How come I didn't get nothing? I got one just now. We were talking. I got a guy that didn't really get anything on a song, and he's wondering like what's going on. It's like,
Oh no.
yeah. I mean, it's a healthy convo, but it sucks because it's part of the job.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everyone's gotta do their job, hold their weight.
Yeah, and if
I
they're being
only
honest with you, they'll tell you that. Like, hey, we're gonna do our part. We're
You
gonna
gotta do
put
your
it out
part.
there. We're gonna do our job, and then hopefully we can get people to rock with it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
you
saying?
can't force people to like it, unfortunately.
I wish. Like this
Like,
song,
I know. I'll
Yeah.
give you $5 to genuinely like it.
We won't shoot everybody if you like this song. Now go follow it.
I only
Yeah.
have a few more questions for you today. I wanted to ask one. I feel like playlisting for artists is such a touchy subject because I know Spotify is pretty strict and weird about it, and there's lots of bots and pitfalls to look out for. So, what
Yeah.
would you say are like the safest ways to promote on Spotify besides like marquee?
All right. So number one is don't do any. Stay away from playlist promotion unless it's just a consultant that actually sends it out to a bunch of personal playlists.
Okay, how do you
Typically,
get
labels
hooked
know
up with
those
that?
people. Yeah, yeah. Labels. labels typically know those people, and
Okay.
they know who to go to, and you're not going to get the money that you invest in it because it can't work that way, because
Mm-hmm.
that's buying plays at that point, right?
Exactly.
So the only way what you're doing there is you're saying, okay, I'm gonna spend this much for this guy to go work my music, and hopefully I get on some playlists and some discovery stuff. And it's really, to be honest, the thing you want to look for is the quality of the stream, how
Mm-hmm.
long people are listening. You can always tell when it's a bot running it. You can go on your profile. You'll see a lot of profile spins or a lot of other, and then what you'll see if you go into that deeper, if the back end lets you look at it, you can actually see like how long they're listening for.
Okay.
If it's cutting you off at like 35 seconds or 40, then it's
Mm-hmm.
a bot because they're just giving you an upstream to listen. It cuts it off. It goes to the next one. It's running
Oh
through a
wow.
stream time.
Interesting.
And they still exist heavily over in Africa and Eastern Europe is where all the
Okay.
bot farms are. They just got a whole bunch of phones all put together, and they just play the music until it's over. It's a computer program.
That's
And then
crazy.
yeah, they
That
were doing
seems
it. Apple
nice.
Music didn't catch on till later, but now what happens is if that's going on, the distributor will hit you directly usually and tell you they're going to pull the streams. But worst case is they'll even pull your profile and the song. Sometimes just the song, but and it sucks. Sometimes artists don't even know what's happening. Their teams are doing it, stuff like that. But we have a few different companies we go through if we want to try to get more playlists. But it's all organic pitching. The company has a pitch method, or the individual knows people and they send it out, and then they send us links to the different playlists. They're all different curators.
Okay.
None of them are just one. Yeah, but there's like dead giveaways too. Like it'll like be a one company that's playing all the music, and they have these weird names like hot pop songs, or just weird stuff, and you're like, this doesn't even feel like I should be on this list, but okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's scary, man, because it sucks. Like everyone's just trying to figure out how to grow. Sorry,
Yeah.
and they get caught up in these schemes that are going on. But it's been going on for a while, but it's getting to the point now where everybody knows when it happens and they shut you down. Basically, it's the worst.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
fun. And I feel like bot streams don't even really make sense for something you'd want anyway, because it's not like that's going to fill up any venues.
Well, no, it doesn't get you fans, right?
Yeah.
It's computerized, so it's
Yeah.
no
It's
fans
just
there.
fake.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, what you really want to do is, like I said, the only way to beat this, the only way is to stay consistent. Like you just dropped the album, right? So,
Hmm.
you know, when you were thinking about coming here, the plan I had was let's break this up into 5 songs that we can pitch for singles. Then we'll have a pitch day for the full project because you can have 5 singles off of 10 or more songs, right? Then a pitch song, so you get 6 out of that. That means you're hitting your algorithm every single time with that song, and you're building it up. And then you really invest kind of in the middle area. First, you just get going, right? And then you invest like right towards the mid end. That
Okay.
hopefully we're getting enough people to marquee the whole album. You know,
Okay.
um, and then take advantage of any relationships that are on there, primary artists like the Derek single, different stuff like that. And then it's about getting behind your marketing. So what are we doing in between these 4 to 8 weeks for dropping songs on your profile? Are you going to do any marketing? Do you want to do some terrestrial stuff where you go out and play coffee shops or play little venues and put your song up so people can click on it and follow it? But it's really all about that. It's trying to collect as much as we can. So the way that we're built out, that's what we do. We have Feature FM we use to collect data for every individual artist. The individual artist has access to all that. And then we
Okay.
have internal campaigns we can run. We have our own playlist people that we work with that we've trusted and tried, uh, and they're pretty inexpensive. So
Okay.
that's kind of what you want to do when you're starting to drop. You want to plan that out and take advantage of as much of the music as possible. You know,
Okay. Awesome.
yeah.
Amazing. That is great advice. And my last question for you is actually about advice. What would you
Okay.
say is the best advice you've ever gotten?
Man, something recent. I've got a lot of good advice over the years, but
Hmm.
something that really, this is going to sound dumb because it's going to seem like for sure that's what it would be, but really think about this though.
Okay.
So I was talking to somebody at Apple, a good friend of mine. We were just talking about people's perspectives, right?
Okay.
And a lot of what we do in music is perceptive and, you know, expectation based, right? The
Hmm.
problem is, and this is where it kind of got me, being in the military, you kind of get used to thinking like everybody else. Like we're all on the same wavelength, trying to make the same things happen. Our lifestyles are the same. We have to pass tests, blood tests, urinalysis, physical fitness, growth tracks. So everyone's thinking the same way,
Right.
right? I mean, if you're trying to be successful, anyways. So it's kind of like you just get this pack mentality to a certain degree. So, being in that frame of mind, I just considered, I just kind of would go into things thinking everybody's thinking like me. We want to win. We want this to work. I wouldn't think about what the other person is seeing in the situation and how they're looking at it. So that person's version of a win might look different than my version of a win. So
Mm.
it was like, yeah, bro, there's billions of people, and every single person has a different perspective. Every
Mm.
single person walking this earth sees this world differently. And I don't know why, but in that moment, it blew my mind because I started thinking about it that way. Like, dang, that's true. Like,
It was very true. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it sounds dumb, but it's not. Like,
Doesn't
it's
sound dumb to me. No, I think it's
well,
important because people have different things that also like matter to them, different things on their brain. That's actually something that my therapist talks to me about is like just realizing that like everyone else just has their own universe. Like you're the center of yours, they're the center of theirs. And so like what someone's thinking or the way they're acting might have nothing to do with you or just different expectations. So I don't think it sounds dumb.
yeah, no, and it's like it sounds general, but it's just when you really look at things like that, it kind of helps you figure out how to go into something with somebody.
I love
So
that.
instead of thinking they're like you and they want what you want, which doesn't make it wrong or right, it's just what version of what we're doing is what you need, right? Like,
What
what
does
does
success
Juliana
look like?
think is a win for her? Yeah, yeah, better. You said way
Yeah.
better than me.
What does
Yeah,
success look like? Yeah, defining that within the team.
yeah. But let me ask you though. I got to hear what's your best advice you got?
I think the best advice I've ever got, I've gotten a lot of good advice as well, but something that I think about frequently and really use a lot, like on a stage show for nervousness, is I had a vocal coach just tell me to trust the work I've done, which also sounds very simple, but I feel like it's huge because I do rehearse a lot. And so it's something for me where I need to just, at a certain point let go and just trust the work I've done. And I feel like that helps me so much in the studio, live shows, and meetings and everything. Like if I've done the work, then I can just trust that. And I feel like that also plays into my faith as well because I'm
Yeah,
very like into my relationship with God. So I feel like it's not only just trusting the work I've done, but like trusting the gifts that I've been given.
that's dope. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, that's a very empowering thing to say to an artist because it's hard, man, to get out there with your music and
It
perform for
is, yeah.
people and wait to see their reaction. Because it's a lot, man. A lot goes into it too. People don't realize how hard it is, the amount of work you got to do to perform and put it all together. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Exactly,
lot.
yeah. Sometimes I even get nervous to like listen to a mix that a producer sends me and it's just me in there and it's just like I have to trust the work I did in that studio. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I get like a little stage fright before I listen to it because I'm like what if I hate it and then I would be upset.
I think it's fair. I mean, it could. Yeah, you might be like, this isn't. I think a lot of people feel that way when they hear their
Yeah.
mixes. Like, all right, you
Let's
know,
see what happens.
sometimes it's not going to be what you want. So you got to be able to communicate that, and hopefully the engineer is cool and not a jerk.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sure
Is
you're
there
getting paid okay to do the job. So yeah, people like to get it right the first time, but with music, man, you kind of have to just get your heads like. They may not. I was a producer for a long time,
okay.
so with production, someone might hit me like, "Can we change out the kicks?" Or
Hmm.
you kind of have to get used to that. So you got to put a price on it that allows for you to be okay with it. Because if
Yeah,
you charge
knowing
low
benefits.
and you're doing a deal and then they want changes, it's like, well, you're the one that priced yourself out of that situation.
Very
So
true, yeah.
you
And I
still got
feel
to
like
deliver the product.
yeah, you can't
You
price
know?
yourself out of that. And I feel like it's also about like ego. Like I feel like for me, something I always say in the studio is like the song is king. So it's not like playing to my ego or anyone else's ego. It's just about what's best for the song, not about like what's best for me and how I feel about my life.
Right. True. But no, you're doing great, man. It's really
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks for bringing me on your
Of
podcast. Give me a
course.
chance to
Thank you
hang
so
out
much
with
for
you.
coming on. Sorry, I talked over
No,
you.
I know you're good. I don't mind coming back. So maybe we can do it once in a while. Like just have like label talks,
Yeah, that would be
talk
amazing.
through different
Well,
scenarios or something.
I would love that. Thank you so much for coming on. And I really appreciated our conversation and had a great time getting to know you more.
You too. And you gotta tell your
Awesome.
mom I said what up.
I will. I absolutely will.
All right.
All right. Stay groovy.
All right, you too. Have a good one.
Bye.